Okay, so pretty much everyone has played with AI at this point, right? But how do you go from just using it to actually building with it? That is the question in tech right now, and that's exactly what we're going to break down today.
And this quote from engineer Chip Huyen, wow, it just nails that feeling, doesn't it? That collective moment where we all kind of went, uh-oh. It wasn't just that ChatGPT was powerful. It was the absolute explosion of possibilities that came right after. All of a sudden, it felt like the old rulebook for software was, well, incomplete.
So that uh-oh moment, it did more than just hand us a bunch of new toys. It actually created an entirely new discipline just to wrangle them. We're talking about the dawn of AI engineering.
So, what's really different here? I mean, haven't we had ML engineers for a while?
Well, yeah, but the game has totally changed. The old way, that was all about building models from scratch. Think painstaking feature engineering, dealing with tabular data, a real grind. The new way, AI engineering, starts with these enormous, already trained foundation models. The job isn't about building from zero anymore. It's all about adapting what's already there. And that means a whole new skill set: prompt engineering, context construction, and this thing called parameter-efficient fine-tuning. Okay, let's dive into this new world. If you want to get good at this, you have to start with what Chip Huyen says is the single hardest, the most crucial problem for any AI engineer to solve. Think about it. Before you can make your AI better, before you can even think about shipping a product, there is one thing you have to nail down first. Any guesses? It's evaluation. And when you think about it, it makes total sense, right? I mean, if you can't reliably measure whether your AI's output is good or bad, how can you possibly improve it? You can't. You can't scale it. And maybe the most important thing, you can't trust it.
And listen, we're not talking about a simple vibe check here, you know? A proper evaluation pipeline is a serious, rigorous process. You've got to test every single part of your system. Then you actually have to sit down and write a clear guideline. Like, what does a good answer even look like for your specific problem? It's only after you've done that that you can define the methods and the data you'll use to measure success. This is real engineering, not just winging it.
Okay, so once you've figured out how to measure your performance, once you have that solid evaluation pipeline, now you can start thinking about adapting these huge general models for your specific needs. And when it comes to that, there are really two main paths you can go down. All right, path number one is something called retrieval augmented generation, but honestly, everyone just calls it RAG. It's a way simpler name. Now, RAG is how you give a model new knowledge without actually changing the model itself. The open book examinology is perfect here. You're basically slipping the AI the textbook pages it needs right when it's taking the test. You're feeding it relevant, up-to-date info on the fly. The second path is fine-tuning. And this is a totally different beast. See, unlike RAG, fine-tuning actually changes the model's brain, its internal wiring. You're not just giving it new facts to read, you're teaching it a whole new skill. Maybe you wanted to adopt a certain personality, or speak in a specific style, or generate code in a very particular format. That's what fine-tuning is for. And this brings us to probably the most important mental model for any AI engineer out there. Seriously, if you walk away with just one thing today, let it be this. RAG is for facts. You use RAG when your model needs to know things, specific, changing information. Fine-tuning, on the other hand, is for form. You use fine-tuning when your model needs to behave a certain way, to adopt a style or structure. So facts versus form. Got it? That's the key right there. So let's recap. We've got our building blocks, right? We have evaluation, our way to measure success. And we have our two paths for adaptation, RAG and fine-tuning. Now, let's put it all together and see what a modern AI engineering stack actually looks like. Okay, so a modern AI system is really built in layers, just like pretty much any other piece of software. Up at the top, you've got the application layer. This is everything your user actually sees and interacts with: the UI, the prompts you write, and this is also where your evaluation comes into play. Then you go one level down to model development. This is the engine room, right? This is where all that adaptation magic happens with RAG and fine-tuning. And then at the very bottom, holding the whole thing up, is the infrastructure layer. This is the bedrock that makes sure everything is served, monitored, and runs smoothly. And that right there, that's the big shift. Once you really get these pillars, how to evaluate, how to adapt with RAG and fine-tuning, and how this whole stack fits together, you've fundamentally changed your relationship with AI. You're not just a user anymore. You now have the mental framework to actually be a builder. So there you have it.
That's the roadmap for AI engineering. The building blocks are right here, laid out for you. The only question left is the fun one. What are you going to build?